What's up, everybody? My name is Fred Moore, and this is the Freedom Variant podcast, episode number 1. Thank you for tuning in and trying this out. Um, Quick little introduction of who I am and what this podcast is going to be about, and then we're done. So it's going to be short. I'm a firefighter. I was promoted to captain about 2 years ago, and I have close to 18 years on the job as a firefighter. Along with everybody at my work, we worked through COVID with N95 masks and surgical masks. And we damn well knew that those masks didn't do anything. And we did our best. We worked really hard. Some of us got sick with COVID. Others, their family members got sick. And we dealt with it just like everybody else did, one day at a time. And as the months rolled by and I witnessed, basically what was going on with the world and everything that was going on with our country, I started to make a determination that I needed to speak up and throw my hat in the ring, if you will, and share my voice about the loss of our liberties and our freedoms in an emergency state. And that's what we're in. We're in a situation where our government has declared an emergency. And it's not just our country, it's the whole world is in an emergency. And if you dig deep and go beyond mainstream media, which doesn't actually help us at all because they're not sharing all the stories. But if you look to alternate sources of information, you'll see that in Australia, we have like a situation where they're practically forced at gunpoint now to be locked down again. And I hear that the situation is dismal over there. I saw a video of a 12-year-old girl being pepper sprayed because she didn't have a friggin' mask on. Over in Europe, millions of people are protesting. In Italy, they're burning their vaccination cards because they want to show solidarity with those who don't want to get vaccinated. And they don't know, people don't want to have documentation that they have to carry around. Europe is badass, man. Those people are taking the fight to the streets. And, we are not alone. We are not alone. And that's why I wanted to do this podcast. Now, check this out. You got big name podcasts like Joe Rogan, where they really can't touch him, right? But then you got like a podcast that I listen to and I recommend highly. It's called the Dark Horse Podcast. And that's a husband and wife team, Brett Weinstein and his wife, Heather. And they have had their videos of their show taken down, suppressed, censored on YouTube. And, they've been demonetized and essentially, they've been attacked. And we know that big tech is acting as a strong arm for the government. The government can't censor. That would just not be right. So they're allowing the dirty work to go to the big tech companies. And that is a form of fascism when your government and an industry link up like that. So really, we're looking at fascism. We're looking at communism, socialism. We're looking at a strike or an attack against our fundamental freedoms. Mandates are not laws. Mandates are just another tool that people in power use or abuse, I should say. They abuse mandates all the time. Expect more to come down the pike. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Now, I mentioned podcasts being suppressed, Joe Rogan, where they kind of can't touch him. He's so big, can't touch him. He's on Spotify. But what I'm thinking is as this gets dirtier and nastier, the big names, the people who have the clout, PhDs, authors, intellectuals, people who have a good reputation, people who have proven themselves time and time again to know what they're talking about. If they stand up against this crushing wheel of tyranny, they are going to pay hell for it. They're going to get suppressed. They're going to get sued. They're going to get they're going to get bad press. You're going to go on Wikipedia and it's going to say all negative stuff about them. All right. They're going to get hammered. All right. This system that we're dealing with here is hell bent on reconfiguring everything. They use mass propaganda, fear mongering, and all that stuff. And it's all to further their goal, which, behind all the smoke and mirrors, it looks like, their goal is just to secure more power. But I do believe that they want to change the world. They're probably considering restructuring the economic system we live in. But what we're looking at, and let's just keep it simple. What we're looking at is a loss of liberty and freedom in exchange for something that they have cooked up, and it's not clear what it is. And this is the oldest trick in the book. I'm sure if you're tuning into this podcast, you probably know about our history in this world. Anytime a government has taken away your rights, liberties, your guns, for your safety, they became more intrusive, more tyrannical, and it was at detriment to the society. And what we need to do here is stop it. So I'm throwing my hat in the ring here with the Freedom Variant. I'm going to find good interviews. I'm going to come up with good discussions. I do have a partner in crime here. His name is Andrew Emsley. He's been on my other podcast called Steel Mace Nation podcast, which is a fitness podcast. And he's a very deep guy, and he's like the opposite of me. He's got long hair and a beard. He's a bit of a wild man, but actually I'm a bit of a wild man myself. You just can't tell by the shaved head and the manner I'm in right now. But he'll be on the podcast too, and we're going to be just digging up information, and we're going to be exposing things our way. Now here's the point. I keep getting a little sidetracked, so here's the point, guys. My thought is this podcast is small. It's up and coming. It's not going to get noticed right away. As those bigger entities, those bigger podcasts, those individuals I said who are going to get suppressed, get squashed, they're going to start getting picked off, silenced, whatever. We may lose them. We may lose their voice. So my thought is, if I'm doing this and you're listening and you're sharing it, we're going to build it up from another lower level. Okay. We're going to keep the dialogue going. We're going to keep this debate going. We're going to keep exposing the truth that we know. And the idea here is to get into this fight and speak and share. And like I said, we'll squeak under the radar for a while because we're small, okay? And eventually it'll get to the point where there's going to be a lot of listeners and there's going to be a lot of comments, and big tech isn't going to like what we're talking about, and they're going to suppress us. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to shift over to Rumble or Odyssey. We're going to shift over to Telegraph, where they won't suppress us. And then hopefully right behind me is another podcast building up, and right behind them is another one. And they just keep coming and coming, and we grind them down. You can't silence us. You can't silence us. We will keep coming. Okay. We are going to grind this intrusive government down through our sheer numbers and our sheer willpower. All right. So here's the goal. And this is where you guys come in. You are 100% active in this podcast. All right. You're not just a listener. You are not. If you just listen to this podcast and then just walk away and go have a drink, we don't want you. Okay. We need activated people. We need people willing on being a moving part and making this actually work. All right. So you're not just a listener. What you are is an ambassador. All right. The Freedom Variant is not about me. It's not about my opinions. All right. This is about a very simple thing, and let's keep it simple this whole time. It's about keeping our liberty, our freedom, the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the Third Amendment, the Fourth, the Fifth, the Sixth, the Seventh, the Eighth, the Ninth, the 10th. It's about keeping it wholesome and real. All right. We are not effing around here. We're protecting what we're supposed to be protecting. Freedom is not free. We have to exercise our rights. We have to put a fist up. And when tyranny steps in, it gets its little piggy toes in the door. They got to get stomped with a steel boot. Okay. And that's what we're doing. So you, my friends, the way you're going to be active in this is you're going to start your own podcasts. You're going to let me know you start your own podcast. I'm going to share that you're out there. If you don't want to start your own podcast, that's fine. You're going to ask somebody else to do it. You're going to keep this going. All right. Because what you could expect is if this podcast gets bigger, they will knock it out. It won't be on YouTube anymore. And like I said, we could go run to the other places, which is fine. But I feel like not having YouTube is a little bit of a hurt for us because YouTube is so popular, right? So that's my game plan here. I'm asking you to get involved. Other ways you can get involved is you write to me at thefreedomvariant@gmail.com, and you share whatever you need to share with me. Okay, you could be anonymous, whatever. But if you're not anonymous, it's better for if you're sharing a story and you're anonymous, then how do we know it's real? You know what I mean? So if you want to just share something, you might not want to come on the podcast, but if you share your story, I'll read it, and I'll share it, and then other people will hear it, and they may have the same story. Okay, this is about connecting everybody together. We are not alone. There's a ton of us who are dead set against all this stuff. Okay, and like I said, I don't want to get too overcomplicated with the point of the podcast. The Freedom Variant is about freedom. All right. Obviously, we're playing on the variant thing here because there's going to be a Delta and an Echo, and they're using COVID as a cover, as a scare tactic, so that they could get what they want. And we could all debate long and hard about what it is that they're trying to achieve. We really don't know, though, do we? One of the things I like to remind people, because they're so happy with what the Republicans are doing, that they're speaking out and everything. And I keep pointing out, I said, yeah, they are, but aren't they just possibly just lip service? They know that there's a group of Americans out there, me, you, who see through the bullshit. We see the man behind the curtain. We see the matrix, and we see the agenda, and that there's a narrative that this is big. This is a worldwide event occurring where governments are in collusion with each other to try to make everybody have a vaccine passport and all this stuff. We see it. So the Republicans' job is to corral our energy. We're mad. We're not going to take it anymore. And, a Republican senator gets up on a microphone and puts out a video or something talking about how, yeah, we're mad and we're not going to take it anymore. I hear your voice and we're going to take the fight to them. Okay, well, do it. Take the fight to them. I don't really see them doing much right now. I might be totally wrong, but this is just, I'm pointing it out. Okay, so that if this is something you never thought of, we may not be able to rely on anybody in the government. Okay, we may only be able to rely on ourselves. We, the people, we, the people that's in the Constitution, the written document. It's up to us. And I'm going to end the podcast in like 2 minutes. I'm going to leave it off with this statement. Guys, it really is up to us. What we have here is we have dysfunctional, horrible people as our leaders. We elected them, right? People elect their leaders for all different kinds of reasons, but our society has fallen into this strange cycle where we're looking for handouts and favors and, just, it's like hedonistic. Okay. We're looking to fulfill our desires, right? Whatever our whim is at the moment. And our politicians are corrupt people. They'll lie. They'll tell you whatever they need to tell you so they can put more money in their coffers. And we're strangling ourselves because we are not upholding our responsibility. We, the people, have a responsibility. We are an active participant in this government. We are not bystanders. They want us to be bystanders. Why? Because we are powerful if we act in unison with each other. There's too many of us. How many people are actually in the political class out of the 350 million Americans in this country? We got them way outnumbered. Okay. And that's why they practice divisiveness. Okay. So we are divided amongst race, religion, mask, no mask, vax, no vax, right? And they keep pumping that. Keep us attacking each other instead of attacking them. It's our responsibility. Okay. If your house where you live is out of order, it's not somebody else's fault. It's your fault. If your bills aren't paid, if you're overcharging on your credit cards and you don't really have the money to pay it back, if you're allowing your house to fall apart, if you're not maintaining it, that's your responsibility. All right. That means get off your ass, clean it up, do the work. You don't have the money to pay for your credit cards, go get another job, pay it all off, clear your debt, right? Be a leader in your household, be a leader in your community. It's our responsibility to put the right people in government. Stop blaming them. Okay, that's the first step here. The freedom variant is you. Okay, we talk about freedom in this country all the time. I've been growing up since the 1970s hearing about freedom, slogans and things like that. But nobody really takes the time to truly bolster their freedom. We keep giving it away. Why? Why are we giving it to them? Why are you giving the most precious thing you have, your freedom, away? It's got to stop. I'm guilty of it too. I'm not saying you. I'm just saying you. Some of you out there are probably right on top of it. And if you are, write me in an email. Let me know how you maintain a high standard. That's what we need. We need high standards, morals, values, convictions, principles, and we need to stick to them all, no matter good or bad. When things are good, when times are right, it's easy to be anything, do anything, and say anything. But when the boot's on your neck, you can see how quickly people fold. So we don't want that. We want to be tough, resilient, right? We're freedom lovers. Remember, people have gone to war, have taken bullets, they've been eviscerated, hung by their necks, all for freedom. They've died free men rather than live as a prisoner. Look up the founding fathers. Find out what happened to all the founding fathers. Some of them did okay. Some of them didn't do good at all. They lost their fortunes, their families, their lives. They were considered by their government, which was the King of England, they were actually considered as criminals, who are trying to take down a government. And, they went out a very bad way. So that's what it actually takes to maintain freedom. Freedom is a beautiful thing, but it requires people who are hardened and bolstered and have convictions and principles and morals, values. I'm not going to take this any further than that. I'm going to leave with everything I said with you. If you agree with me, click subscribe and share this episode and tell people, get on board. And remember what I said about 5 or 10 minutes ago. There will come a time, okay? Look, hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. We may just be at the tip of the iceberg with this. There's no telling how far they are willing on going, okay? We might be in for the battle of our lives. And 100 years from now, God willing, and with all, hopes assured, they will be talking about the greatest fight for freedom ever held on the face of the planet. And we will be the people that they're talking about, the freedom fighters, the freedom variant. Okay? We don't know. We don't know where this journey is going to take us. All right? We're on for a wild ride. So remember, you got to get involved. Just listening to the podcast and then turning around and maybe discussing it with a friend or two, that might seem good enough, but it's not. We need people boots on the ground. We need people activated. Go to the local rallies and protests. Guys, that's it. I'm not going to talk anymore. I think you get the point. So if you're not following me on Instagram, it's at The Freedom Variant. I also have a backup account set up. You can find that too. Follow them both. And as time goes on, I will expand my social media into the uncensored platforms and share this with everybody and stick around. We're going to have interviews coming up. I'll let you know 2 interviews I got set right now, and then I'm out and we'll let you go. One interview is with a girl who started Students Against, not a girl, she's a woman. Sorry. She started Students Against Mandates, and she did a great job. And she's I believe she just became a nurse, and she's a great speaker, and it's going to be an honor to have her on the podcast. She has a pretty big following, and I'm actually a little nervous about it because she's an intellectual, and I'm afraid I'm going to say something stupid. But I don't care if I say something stupid because she'll make it all better. I'm just joking, of course, but yes, she's going to be coming on. And then I have a gentleman from Australia. I'm probably going to be recording that podcast tonight because there's a 14-hour time difference. And Australia is really messed up. It's bad. And I want you guys to go dig up some information on what's going on in Australia, because that could be America in short time. Like, it can happen overnight. That could be Europe. That could be Ireland. That could be England. Okay? It's like that. So go look at Australia, see what's going on, and stay tuned for that podcast. He's fired up, this guy. And I'm not giving much information on who these people are because I don't have the notes in front of me. And before I go, I just want to point something out. I do run another podcast called the Steel Mace Nation. It's a fitness podcast. I'm not going to have this kind of conversation and put it on that. Just two different audiences. But if you're interested in that, you can go check that one out too. But the reason why I'm telling you is because between being a firefighter, a father, a husband, having 2 podcasts, 2 Instagrams, you know what I mean? A lot of this is going to have to be done on the fly by the seat of my pants. You're going to see where I don't have all my notes in front of me. You're going to see where I can't remember certain names or whatever. So it's going to be a little rough, but that's because everything that we start new is going to be a little rough, right? So the takeaway for you on that is this fight that we're headed into, it's not going to feel nice. It's going to feel very uncomfortable. You're going to want to quit right away because it takes you out of your routine. It might take you away from the nice things in life that you like to enjoy, and you want to get back to them. But after a while, you're going to get good at it, and you're going to become accustomed to it. You're going to develop a new lifestyle around it. Okay? Because I think we're going to be in for a long haul. Again, hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. All right. And that's all I'm asking you to do. And give yourself the benefit of the doubt. Okay. If you feel like you're struggling and you're sinking, again, reach out to the people around you. We're all out there. We're connecting everybody right now. Okay. Email me at the freedom. It's a Gmail account, thefreedomvariant@gmail.com. You email me. You could tell your story. Sometimes that's a cathartic thing for you. You just share your story, and then you'll say, okay, Fred will share that story on his podcast, and that might make you feel better, might motivate you. So guys, thank you very much for listening to the first podcast, and thank you for sharing and following. I appreciate it. We're all in this together, and we need to really make this a concerted effort. So we'll see you at episode number 2 shortly. Take care.